Welcome to the Top Sports podcast. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you're listening/watching on YouTube. You can also find this podcast on Spotify and other podcast platforms. Hi, and welcome to episode 1 of the Top Sports podcast with me, JK, and my co-host, JT. In this video, we're going to be going over our England Euro squad. We're going to be announcing 26 players that we think will be on that Euro list coming up next week. So, John, if I can get you in on this, what do you think we're going with, or is there any kind of players on here that you kind of put on here that you don't think will be in the squad? First of all,
yeah, I think we had a slight disagreement, didn't we? Have opinion with Calvin Phillips, wasn't it?
Yeah. Definitely Calvin Phillips was one of a question. To be fair, there's quite a few, and I've actually wrote down a couple more. I know we spoke yesterday about a few things, but I've actually wrote a couple more which I want to get your opinion on. But we'll start off with goalkeepers because they're pretty much picking themselves, aren't they?
They are. I think Pickford's after an injury sorted his form out. Pope's a reliable number 2, but then Henderson has threw his hat into that is a headache to Southgate, but I think tournament experience always prevails in that area for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pickford did really well in the last tournament. We've got to sort of admit that.
It's the goal kicks as well. Everyone forgets how dangerous he was on the break with him when we're counter-attacking. His kicking is just phenomenal. The amount of yards he gets England up the pitch with a kick is just outstanding. His distribution is very good, I think.
Yeah. So Pickford has to be the one that will start and out of those 3. But I think Henderson's a good backup, to be fair. I do like Nick Pope, but I do like Henderson a little bit more. It's just your general sort of shot stopper. But let's move on to some defenders, because this is where there's a few question marks and a few questions I have. So let's name some of the ones that you think will be on that list.
Okay. Do you want me to start naming the list?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So we've got Trent Alexander-Arnold. We've got Kieran Trippier, Kyle Walker, John Stones, Harry Maguire if he's fit, Tyrone Mings, Ben Chilwell, and Luke Shaw. Yeah,
so we went through that list, didn't we? And we thought Trent Alexander-Arnold has to be on that list, doesn't he?
Wow, for me, he does. I think he has come into form. I mean, look at yesterday, he was a good delivery. I mean, a fantastic header by Alisson, but this is a delivery again. I thought he looked dangerous all game against Albion for Liverpool. I think he was just, I think he had a good chance to score, maybe 1 or 2 chances. And I do think he's a threat. I don't understand why Southgate's lost trust in him as quick as he has done when he's gave other players numerous chances. It's just a mystery to me. I really am flabbergasted that there's some strong sources that we spoke about in the around England setup. I think he might not go, and that just that would be incredible if he does. I really do.
I think as well that there's a 26-man squad. You would expect him to sort of be there, but because again he has England experience. And he's just a quality right back. I still think he's probably one of the better right backs in England and deserves a sort of starting spot, doesn't he?
I think the reason why people question his defending is he's stronger than, let's say, Rhys James or Kyle Walker defending. No, he isn't. But you can't judge Liverpool fullbacks with the way that Klopp plays defending. You can't do it because they're so high up. I think it's a bit harsh judging when he's deeper with England. Maybe I know that's fewer games, and but I think that's very harsh to judge fullbacks for Liverpool the way how high they are under Jurgen Klopp and the way that they play.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say, do you think that's a reason because of the way Klopp plays with that high line? We don't necessarily see the defensive work, do you?
Yeah.
It's like Robertson on the left-hand side. He's pretty much just a left winger, isn't he? Like Trent is a right winger for him. So it's very hard for them to do that defensive duty, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
One that I will throw my hat in for right back, and this is one that I haven't spoke to you about again. He has no experience with England, but someone that gets a kind of a mention every now and again is Man United's right back, Juan Basaka.
Basaka. See, now I do think he's good going forward, but I think he's okay going forward. But I just do think he's really suspect defending.
Mm.
When someone's running at him, I think he can be quite clumsy. I mean, Man United fans might sound chatting nonsense, but
yeah,
I think what I saw in the very minimal times this season I have, to be fair, so it's tongue in cheek in my knowledge on him. I think he's suspect to a tricky winger.
I don't think he'll go, but I do kind of look at some Man United fans when they say like he should be in the squad at least for like friendlies and things like that, because I think he's a good one-on-one defender. He very rarely gets dribbled past, which is a good attribute to have as a defender. But he, I suppose, going forward, he's not as deadly as even I think England have to utilise those sort of wing backs, don't they?
Well, that's a good difference of opinion in episode 1. I've said he's suspected,
yeah. I think he's a good one-on-one defender. I think if you watch some of his stuff, I think he is pretty decent. But like I said, like I've probably watched him maybe a bit more.
Yeah,
you might have this season anyway. But okay, so moving on then, because we did talk about sort of Rhys James as well. You mentioned Rhys James a little bit earlier, and but Rhys James hasn't made your or our sort of list to go. So why do you think that he shouldn't go?
I just think his Kieran Trippier is a better option for me. Again, you can't forget his form at the World Cup. Yes, how many years ago now was it? 4 years ago now. But he has got 6 assists for Atletico Madrid this season.
Yeah.
And such a defensive team, that's impressive. Whether it's the set pieces, I don't know. I haven't delved too much into how he got the assists, but I've seen that he's got 6 assists. Again, his set pieces could be vital when we're playing the better teams that will have more of the ball in England than we do. We are dangerous from set pieces of England are. And that's why I think Rhys James is a very good, a good option to have. I just think he's unfortunate he's got Alexander-Arnold and Kyle Walker, but I do think that he will be one of the future picks for England because Trippier and Walker in their 30s respectively, aren't they? So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, also a guy who's been featured in defence a lot, Eric Dier, doesn't make our list either because we're not Eric Dier fans. Are Spurs Eric Dier fans? I don't even know.
You're watching the comments now.
Yeah. Comment below. Are you an Eric Dier fan?
Yeah, probably. I think the thing with Eric Dier is I'd always love him for his bottle scoring that penalty against Colombia with the Titanic music. That would be
yeah.
But I think also he did get some real good form, and he played well for England under Roy Hodgson, but for some reason under Southgate he just hasn't replicated that form. And is it the way that England play? I don't know. Is it because he's got lost in not finding a position? Some managers want him as a CDF. Some managers want him as a centre back of a 3, centre back of a 2. I think it's just been a bit unfortunate. But I mean, we've got Tyrone Mings on this list, and he's Eric. I know that one's right footed, one's left, or I'm just guessing at that. But who's better than? Is Eric Dier better than Mings? No, but is Mings better than Dier? No, either. So, in my opinion, I just think he's been kind of in the wilderness again, hasn't he? And then he forced his way back into the team, didn't he? And then I'm not sure if he's played the last few games for Tottenham. I don't think he has he?
Yeah, he did feature in the last couple of games. Yeah.
I just think he's just got a bit lost in where he's playing, I think, and he's dropped down the pecking order. But Southgate still picks him, doesn't he?
Well, that's it. It's kind of Southgate kind of has his favourites, and I understand why he has those favourites because he kind of, I suppose, it's hard for him. He's almost like a manager who wants a consistent team rather than picking people that are in form, isn't it? Because he doesn't get to work with these players very often, I suppose. So that might be the way Southgate's looking at it.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think going slightly off subject. I think that's what frustrates me when the old pub argument. People say, "Oh, you've got to pick him on form."
Mm.
Just because someone's on form doesn't mean they've got international quality or suit in international football.
No, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And I find it difficult because that Spain, when Spain dominated for them, 3 or 4 tournaments, it was the same. It was the same squad every time, wasn't it? Bar injuries.
Yeah. No,
just because they're only 4 doesn't mean that they didn't go. And I think England as a nation is so obsessed with form, and I just never understand it.
Mm. No, you're right, and I think that's the way Southgate's going about things. He's going about it a bit differently, isn't it? And it does frustrate a few people because obviously we as Villa fans, we're a bit biased to Jack Grealish, aren't we? And I think everybody wants Grealish on that list. And we've been saying he needs to be in that England squad for however long now, but he didn't want to really kind of put Jack in the side. Jack kind of forced his hand in the end with the performances he was putting in. So let's talk about the left side of the defence then. So we've talked about Mings, Chilwell and Shaw. Again, I suppose you left back, who's starting out of Chilwell and Shaw for you?
Depends who you're playing. I can't. Again, if you play in France, it's got to be Shaw. If you play in Czech Republic, it's got to be Chilwell. That's my attitude towards them too. I cannot separate them.
Yeah.
Bill and Ben, the flower pot men.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they're both quality left backs. I think that's the thing on the left hand side. There's not much to really talk about there, is there? Because you haven't really got much choice for one, and they're both 2 great players anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, in their own right. They're in their own right. I think everyone's content with the 6. I think everyone's in the same boat of you play your left back on who you play your opposition is in the tournament.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Tyrone Mings. Then a quick note on Tyrone Mings. Why we want Tyrone Mings in there? Why do you think Tyrone Mings will be picked?
As I mentioned to you before, I do like Tyrone Mings, but I think he's in there because he's left-footed and a lack of options. If I'm being brutal, I think he's a fantastic defender. I do, but I don't think he stands out from Conor Cody, Ezri Konsa, and Holgate from Everton. I know he has a few bad moments, but Godfrey from Everton as well.
Yeah,
I think there's a group of them that are good, solid defenders, but they're not on Maguire or Stones' level for me, and that's a worry. That is a massive. I really hope to God that Maguire's fit.
Yeah. For all the stick Maguire gets, he is quality, isn't he? You can't deny that he is decent.
Yeah. Look at the mass hysteria that Bruce used. Steve Bruce was loved to say about conceding 4 against Liverpool, and there's so many comments about Maguire was missed.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I think that's the right as well.
Yeah. No, I agree. So let's move on to the midfielders then. We've already talked about Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish makes our list, but we've also got on there Phil Foden, Mason Mount, Declan Rice, Jordan Henderson, and Calvin Phillips. Now, Calvin Phillips, we said at the start of the sort of episode that was a bit of a topic for us because we think he'll be in the squad, but we don't necessarily think we want him to go.
Going to get crucified by Leeds fans.
Leeds fans are going to hate us for this one. Absolutely hate us. But I know it's not necessarily that we don't want him to go. I just don't think he starts in our England 11, does he? And I don't think we have that much depth in that position anyway, do we? We have Declan Rice, who I think and look at the season Declan Rice has had. I know Leeds have had an absolutely fantastic season, but look how good West Ham have been. If Declan Rice is fit as well, because he's just coming back from an injury as well, hasn't he? So if he's fit, he goes, doesn't he? Definitely. Yeah.
I think my issue with the Calvin Phillips one is I think Bielsa gets the best out of him and he suits the way that Leeds play, and I just don't think England will get the best out of him. Got nothing against him. I think he's a fantastic player, very tidy player, who's got everything in the locker. But do you think the way that England play in the middle of the park will really get the best out of him. And then again, going off subject, Gerard Lampard's goals, England have never got the best out of centre midfielders, and that is my worry. I know it's a different system, different manager. I'm not comparing the players. I'm just saying, with the way that England play, do you think Calvin Phillips will have a brilliant tournament? With the way that Southgate plays, I'm not so sure. We do keep the ball, but it's a different type of keeping the ball to ride at the intensity that Leeds play.
Yeah, I don't think he'll start anyway. I think he'll go, but I think he definitely would play Declan Rice over Calvin Phillips.
Oh yeah, it's a both fit. I think you're too old as a Rice.
Yeah, definitely. Got to give I suppose an honourable mention to Phil Foden because what a player! I mean, absolutely unbelievable player. Great season, winning stuff with Man City, Champions League final coming up. Yeah.
I mean, again, it's the same. Him and Mason Mount. I don't see how you cannot start them, but you're going to upset a big player. You're going to upset a big forward.
Yeah, and talking about upsetting a big player, you're probably looking at your Rashford, Sterling's.
Just took it out of my mouth. He took them 2 names out of my mouth.
Yeah, because there's almost a little bit of a battle there, isn't there, with like Grealish, Foden, Rashford. They're all kind of, Foden for City plays on that left-hand side, but for England, he starts on the right more often than not, doesn't he? So there's a little bit of a thing there where he, you can't deny Marcus Rashford is a brilliant player as well, and even Sterling, brilliant players. But for me, even if it was a fight for Grealish and Foden at that point, at this current moment in time, I'd play Foden over Grealish.
Yeah, simply because, Foden, as I said, I don't want to be contradicted of my point earlier about the form, but Grealish has been injured. It's not even about form. I don't think Grealish will play that much as Foden. That's a separate conversation. I think Phil Foden has to start for England. However, going back onto that point again, and I do think he gets a lot of stick, and I don't understand why. Maybe I see it different. It is Raheem Sterling always looks dangerous in the England shirt. Again, tournament experience. Are you going to throw Phil Foden in? I know he won't be in a rabbit in the headlights, but are you going to upset the system? Because if we just touch on McCain when England went to was it Madrid and beat Spain 3-0 up at half time against Spain. And it was the Kane, Rashford, and Sterling show on the break, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's difficult. I think that is difficult, but yeah.
I think this is where the problems are going to come for Gareth Southgate. It's definitely that top half of the attackers, isn't it? Because we have this is our first sort of tournament I think we're going in where we have loads of talent, but it's just how does he play it so that he can get the best out of them all? Because
Mount has been unreal. Again, Mount has to start. I think as you say, Rice and Henderson pick themselves. Phillips will have something to say about that. So would Leeds fan. Fine, he would come in for one of them. So we've touched on keepers are picking themselves, defenders are picking themselves. The midfield picks itself, but except question mark Foden, Grealish in the wide areas. I know they're in our midfield, but you could argue they're forwards.
Yeah.
It's
going
to be interesting that first 11, isn't it?
Yeah, and I do think it's gonna definitely butt heads of opinions, isn't it, with all these players? Because if we move on to the forwards, then we've got you wanted to mention someone that probably no one would think would be going. Well, maybe a lot of people would want him to go, but you've talked about Madison Greenwood to me. And you've put him in our list along with Calvert-Lewin, Kane. So Sterling and Rashford, obviously, as we've just already mentioned. So Madison Greenwood, you think he's going? You think he should go?
Yeah, I do. I think he's shown enough in the last 6 to 8 games for Man United.
Yeah.
I agree with what Neville said. I think he's one of I think his finishing is outstanding for his age. I do. If you look at how I love Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think he's a very good player. He's something different for England. However, I don't think he finishes as much as he should. I still think but again, that comes with age. I know he's very young still and raw. But Greenwood, I just think when he's got that, like, I don't know, he's just got that, like, you know, Van Nistelrooy. I know I'm not comparing. It's that kind of, when he's in the box, you're in trouble.
He just knows where the goal is, doesn't he?
Yeah, so I didn't watch the Villa Man U game, but he scored against Villa in there, and I think that apparently that's quite a good taken goal, and you know, prolific. He just when he's in that box, he gets his opportunity, he takes it. I'd love to know his conversion rate. I really would from chances to goals.
Yeah, I imagine it's pretty decent. He's always a threat as well. He kind of goes under the radar at Man United a little bit, although Man United fans love him, don't they? But I do feel like he goes a little bit under the radar because it's kind of like you've got Marcus Rashford, you've got Bruno Fernandes, obviously, and Cavani and players like that there. So I think he's a great player, and I do think he should make the squad, especially the form he's been in recently. He scored in the previous game as well, didn't he? So he has been in hot form, and I do feel like he would make the list, especially now it's a 26-man squad.
Well, England have got a problem on the right, haven't they? I know people can play there, Foden can play there, but and I know Jaden Sancho. We're going to get questions about him, but I just think Greenwood can play on the right and be just as prolific, and so it's a good option to have when if we're chasing a game or you know, if you want to throw him in and start him.
Absolutely. And you just mentioned Jaden Sancho there. So we had kind of rounding it off, 23-man squad we've kind of picked there. We've left 3 out, and we've chosen sort of the 3 sort of spare squad members that we'd want each.
So I think that is it the rule that they won't make the match day squad rule, but they can. It's still 23 players, to my understanding, of a match day, and 3 left out.
So we kind of picked 3 players that we think would be on our lists to go, but probably won't be in the squads. So I'll say mine first, because mine obviously featured Jaden Sancho, because he's obviously been sort of in form again for Borussia Dortmund, as well as Jude Bellingham. Now, Jude Bellingham, obviously very young, not as experienced as sort of most of our midfield there. He's played a couple of games for England. He looks very comfortable on the ball, and I think he's a bit of a wild card to throw in there. Even if they're just taking for tournament experience, he might just be that sort of player that they'd want in there. And also, I've put Jesse Lingard on my list because I love Jesse Lingard. I think he's a great player. Scoring goals for West Ham. Look at West Ham with Jesse Lingard in that team. He's definitely been the one. He picks a ball from the midfield and just drags them up the pitch. Scores goals. I mean, he scored. He had the goal of the month, didn't he? So basically, picked the ball up in his own half, ran all the way to the end, and scored. And he's just a great player. He has tournament experience as well. He knows the England setup. He's been in the England setup before, so I don't think it's too much of a wild card for Lingard to actually be in this squad. What do you think?
No, I only worry with Lingard that we've got too many players that can play in that position that are too, like Foden, Grealish, Rashford, Sterling. I just think they're still better than him in that position. Again, I do feel for him. I just think right player, wrong time. I know that sounds ridiculous. Where I'm just going to go slightly off subject. Jude Bellingham is still raw, but his physique and his ball carry. No, we haven't got the athleticism that we've been crying for. So, right player. So I do think he'll feature more than you think because of what he had, even though his age is raw. Whereas if we had other players that were in their mid-20s that had the attributes Bellingham had, I don't think he would be taken right now. I still think he's very young, but we haven't got that luxury.
Yeah.
So that's why he's going. Whereas, so I think Lingard's just been a bit. I am being harsh, and he doesn't make mine, but that's just horses for courses, isn't it?
It is.
Again, there's no I can't. If you said to me, it's one of them where I've gone with a different approach, and that's why. And it's you can see why. It's just the hardest job in the world.
Yeah, definitely. I don't want to be Gareth Southgate, put it that way. But okay, so you mentioned your three. Let's go with your three then. Name your players.
Jude Bellingham. Agree. I've touched on that again. Just quickly just summarise. I know he's very raw, but I just think he's got something that we haven't got in the midfield, which is, as you say, he can play the defensive role, he can play the attacking role. I think he's got a great ball carry, as you said. His physique is just unbelievable, his strength, and we haven't got that athleticism in the midfield. I think Rice and Henderson are very. If people are running at them with the ball, they're very, very clumsy and have to give away free kicks and stuff. Whereas I think if Jude will cope better, but again, very raw. So who knows how much he'll feature. And another player that I think goes under the radar massively, only because I think he'll suit how England might approach the tournament, is James Ward-Prowse. For example, for Southampton this season, 8 goals, 7 assists. It's pretty impressive. It really is. Again, chasing the game. Deep into the tournament, we've got good set piece takers, but it's just another option for me just to bang on. I don't think I'll start him, but I'm just saying 20 minutes to go, take a defender off, bang him on, let's see what he can do. He could, smash in a free kick, couldn't he? He's so dangerous, and you're bound to win free kicks when England are playing because of the forwards that we have. The trickery, and Foden, Grealish, Greenwood, Rashford, Sterling, Kane. It's bound to get some set piece joy. And again, not forgetting how many goals we scored from set pieces in that World Cup. So Ward-Prowse for me, not to start for England, but an option when you're trying to, use plan B and C.
I think that's a great shout, to be fair. I didn't think of the fact that, Grealish is the most foul player. So definitely one to win free kicks. Harry Kane's really good at winning a free kick, isn't he? Against his defenders as well. He's been a bit opinionated on that sometimes because people say he buys them too aggressively or whatever. But he's always winning free kicks. So I didn't think of James Ward-Prowse, to be honest. But you make a really great point there of the fact that England could win a lot of free kicks, and again could ultimately come down to that, couldn't it? So.
Yeah, of course, because it's a long tournament, isn't it? You don't play well every game.
No. And then your final player
is Danny Ings.
Fan favourite, I think. Danny Ings. I think everyone loves Danny Ings. I
think again, this season, 12 goals, 4 assists. Season before, he had an outstanding. I think how many goals did he get? He got how many was it? 20 goals or something ridiculous. So,
yeah, something like that.
He's had a good few seasons, hasn't he? I mean, you can't argue with Danny Ings. I know he has his odd injury problems, but he just has niggles for Southampton. I know he's been out this season for a short period, but I just think he offers something different. I think he's so good at that snapshot in the box, isn't he? That small little. Less, not even he doesn't put his leg back, it's just like a shotgun bang.
Yeah.
And then the runs in between defenders is so clever.
Yeah. He scored 22 goals last season.
22.
Yeah. So.
And 12, he's got 12 this season, hasn't he? Which is, I think, it's because due to the less games maybe for the injuries. He's had little niggly injuries.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do think Danny Ings is quality, absolutely quality. I remember watching Southampton versus Villa, and he pretty much destroyed us. He's just quality. He looks clever on the ball, and I like clever players. I like people that want to play in the space, and I think he's very good at finding that and being in those little spaces that most strikers don't find themselves, or being in the right place at the right time, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say for Danny Ings. But he's quite absolutely quality at getting those little shots that you don't think anyone would be around for. He's always sort of popping up with them, isn't he? So yeah. Okay, well, I think that concludes our 26-man squad. Any more that you want to talk about that you think should be there, or that
I
will
think it's
be?
honourable mentions for Patrick Bamford and Ollie Watkins up front as well. But again, I just think they both had fantastic seasons. And they can count themselves unlucky if they don't go.
Yeah.
But I just think the problem with the strikers, my worry is it's pointless going. It's pointless, not pointless going, but I just feel like we rely on Kane so much, and it infuriates me when he's absolutely knackered that we just didn't. I still think Southgate didn't take him off early enough sometimes. When he's I just hope this tournament, if we're 2-0 up and it's just a game's done, just get him off the next game. Give someone a good bunch of minutes and experience and a chance. I just think we rely on Kane way too much, and I don't want to touch on it this episode too much, but it just comes so deep, it infuriates me with the capital at the end of it. I mean, it just infuriates me how deep he comes. But maybe maybe Southgate sees something that I don't. But I just think with them attackers you've got around him, why do you need to come so deep? I think that really does cost us goals as well.
He does it a lot for Tottenham, doesn't he? He does drop a little bit deeper and collect the ball, and he tries to lay it off and then make a bit of a run. But with that, he's kind of got similar players, I suppose, because Son and Bale are pretty quick, aren't they? So he's got those to kind of.
I just think he's not pacey, is he? That's the thing. By the time he's got into the box, he's wasted half of his energy.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think he's better off just staying up, isn't he? And just trying to win the headers or win the free kicks and, get on the end of a free kick, because he's a great header of the ball, isn't he? I mean, he's definitely England's best striker, isn't he? Because he can score a goal from absolutely anywhere, So, yeah, I agree in terms of if you are a striker like Ollie Watkins or Patrick Bamford. I think Patrick Bamford's been incredibly unlucky, to be fair. I think he is, again, quality, but is that the way Leeds play that makes him like that? I don't know. Would an England setup suit him in that sort of sense? But I do think Patrick Bamford's got a real good eye for goal, and he always makes the runs to the front post just to have those little tap-ins and things like that, which again go underrated, don't they? Making that run. Obviously we're Villa fans, we watch Ollie Watkins a lot. Ollie makes those runs, but probably halfway, nowhere near as much as Patrick Bamford does.
No.
So, I do think that, Patrick Bamford won't go, but definitely does, like you said, deserves an honourable mention.
Yeah, I've got nothing else to say, really. I'm just making sure we've touched on everything. I think we've touched on everything.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for listening to this episode. Please subscribe to the channel. You can head over to our socials, Top Sports Podcast on Instagram, Top Sport Podcast on Twitter. Thank you.